Okay, we're going to do another Tales from the Fire. This one is kind of, we're coming up on Halloween, or whenever you see this, I guess you'll see it, but you'll know that we were coming up on a Halloween season. I'm going to tie a bunch of things together. Here's another adventurers stopping by the fire. There's a lot of people that do because this is a fire spot that we have as a sanctuary. There's like 5 of them over this whole map that we have. I'll show you the whole map that we have here in these fire spots that look like fires that you have to go around and light. The ones that I've lit are lit up real bright, the other ones are not. So there's only like one left, and the fairy line leads me to where I'm supposed to go. Behind me is a heroic that's going on. I don't think anybody's gonna probably be involved with it, but we'll see. I can show you a bunch of mounts, but we're gonna go on the witch mount, for that's the one that pretty much suits this area. There's witches in this area. I could tell you a lot of witch tales. Let's get rid of these guys. Corrupted. Well, just stand there and take it then. Yeah. Corrupted druids. A lot of people think druids maybe just come from, oh, they're around Stonehenge, right? That's not necessarily so. In fact, this concept right here of standing stones is something that's been around for a long time, where a border of an area people would put up, and if you understood it, I guess it would be okay, but if you don't know what the hell is going on, you shouldn't go any further. You should go back the other way. Up here is a place called Yesterhill, and now because the beam going down, that's letting everybody know that there is this heroic that's going on. See if there's any people getting in on it. Yeah, okay, well, I feel compelled. Let's go. Oh, so as I remember, you just keep getting surrounded by these guys, and you've got to keep them from getting to the center. And this center right here is going to be a wicker man. Yeah. And it's going to end up getting huge. And then it ends up being summoned with these other guys, and they get it to stand up. There's no real way to stop it. But we're minimizing how much power he has due to how many souls he has before it happens, is effectively it. And there is, just enough people here to make this work. I don't think there's any way to see who's doing what damage, but I may be the only one that's in game out here doing this. So people pick a direction, and if you'll look, this is a stone circle. So having this Wickerman concept attached to it is something else, and you can see this magic getting going right here. So his resistance level is this little blue bar over here on the right hand side, and 0. But he's about to be stood up, and everything's about to kick off. I can one-shot basically these dudes. They do a little bit of damage, but I've got a lot of hit points now, so it effectively doesn't look like it to me anymore. Gotta take these things out. All the way around, and there he is. Pretty easy kill. Anyhow, get that out of my inventory. Ghost Bracers and Brovian Nightcrawler. Yeah, you can go fishing with them, but that's not what this is actually for. Anyhow, so there's stone circles around here too, and one can bet that certain alignments, of course, would hook up to the day and the night and so on. Whoops, you don't want to be just sitting around here like Camaris is back there, because they're fixing to attack him as soon as he starts to move, and if he doesn't start moving in about 10 seconds. And they're scattered through this area here. Let's see if I can draw as much aggro as possible. Looking around, there's a stele or a spire with Celtic designs on it, as you can see. I'll clear these people out. You know, we did want to, in this area here, about witches, I believe it was, or Dracula, which I could have done either one. And I put out this part where you're going from 70 to 80, and symbolism that goes along with this, and water and wind, and how they work for each other, and how you even saw symbolism like this maybe in Fifth Element and things like that. But you definitely see it in these Celtic type people. But also we understand that a lot of those people that come over weren't actually from there, and so it carries from a farther reach than people give credit for still to this day. This thing right here has some, I thought my roots would just kill him. And there's another one that goes along with it. Hey guys, what you doing? Messing with the border here. Help this guy out. So there's quite a few adventures here, and this is really all pretty much got to be UK people. This is real late at night. I'm going to come back through here and back into the land. See what part I come at. So this is Barovia. This is this city. And oh, I guess I didn't give it a proper intro, but this Barovia is a place that we as super adventurers were asked to help. Lord Neverwinter got a call for help from these people. They're basically gypsies, and so we rode with them and rode off into a fog through the forest that was up there northeast of there somewhere. And the next thing you know, well, we're coming out the forest in this land, and we really were pretty unsure where we were because it had been foggy for days. People that live in the UK could probably understand this concept of not knowing where you're coming out of. And you see this English Tudor type design that they throw at you. But also we've talked about how that symbolism and that look is carried through Proto-Indo-Europeans, and a lot of these people would take their boats apart and build their houses and so on. In fact, that's where basically barns come from. In fact, the Mayflower now is a barn. They believe they found it. And so I'm going to skirt around the city. Here's one ancient graveyard. There's one also way up high. But can't see it from this direction, but it'll come into play. But there's some mountains near here that are unfamiliar to most. And in those mountains, or the starting of those mountains, lives Strahd. Wow, there it is. So you can barely see it, but village of Barovia. And through the mist, you can barely see this castle that's over there, and that's Castle Dracula, basically. But when you're playing it, there's a golem, kind of like Frankenstein, if you will, but it's not just Frankenstein. It's a suit of armor that's huge, and he's animated it. Oh, I don't know, 35 foot tall. It's King Kong in a suit of armor, and you've got to fight it. And there's certain things and ways you've got to do it. You know, of course, now we've gotten so good at it, we can just burn it a little bit easier than we did before, and we know what to do and what not to do. So even though there's that village, there's this little hangout here, and this is the Vistani camp. In fact, I think I came in on this one, and then you start out with this. Now, if we were going to do Dungeons and Dragons, you could do it a bunch of different ways. That there's a fight with wolves out there and so on, and then you get separated from those people. You hear stuff in the distance, and these people making these joy of reveille, and you come up on the camp, and here they are. Now, what we were at just a minute ago was day, by the way. Now look, there's night. If you ever saw that guy right here in the corner, it says "I hunger." He's a wraith, pretty much like Dracula, run rampant, and he can run into you at any place, and you have to fight him. But usually you're safe if you're here at one of these campfires or around the regular camp. Now, what makes this cool, you can trade your cards and everything from here, and you get a Taroka deck. A Taroka deck is basically, a magic gypsy card deck that you would use. So Taroka is tarot, but they didn't want to use the name and everything for it. And you can trade in and buy cards and sell cards and everything with these guys. And they stay out here in a sub camp or whatever, but if you'll look, we understand this to look like gypsies, right? It's a gypsy concept. Well, no, this idea of wagons and covered wagons and things like this go way, way back. And something that you would be more familiar with is traveling shows and things like that always had these wagons that they had made for them too. Like Wizard of Oz and stuff like that. But how far does it go back? Well, way, way back. But this is basically a mobile home if you're looking at it. A little mobile home, if you will. But hey, it's what it is. And get pulled by horses and so on. And the Scythians had this semi-nomadic lifestyle a long time ago. There's a lot of people that led a semi-nomadic lifestyle until very recently too, but we don't need to get into that so much. All these people that are gypsies seem to get a bad reputation. They're all going to try to gyp you in one way or another. People try to say that they're certain ethnicity, they're this, they're that, and everything, but one thing for sure, they have a way about magic and things like that. Now, this is Madame Eva, and we're going to go in and visit her for a second. This will be something cool. These great cedar forests. You know, there's cedar forest. They're around. There you can see the castle, the well, and better again. So, now we're inside of it, and it's like its own little place. You can go here and abandon it, and you can't go out here yet. Can't currently interact because you need to give her a card or tell her that you're not going to give her a card or do what you're ever going to do with it, right? And so if you talk to her, she asks for what hunt you want. You tell her I'm not ready, and you go right back out of it. But I think I've got a hunt on me. Well, Bulgara, it's really one of the easy ones. The druid waits by stacked and standing stones, paused by chants and echoed tones. The second location is the thief. Beware hidden watching eye whilst braving narrow crossing eye. Necromancer, skulking beneath crumbled towers and walls, finds allies and servants. Huh. So I could play a card here. I've got a whole bunch of them that I've saved up from never really having to do it, but all of them have different things that you can do, and so you can play one versus what's going to happen. So it's kind of cool because you have a way that you can get certain stuff out of it, and armor pieces and things like that. I've saved up a whole bunch of them. The reason I did was, well, you never know whenever somebody's going to really like this one exact transmog that you can get for it. It's real doubtful that any of them have anything good, but here's some of the better ones that are in here, and it gives you the random 3-piece armor piece. And also, if we're doing a level 2 hunt, it could, or well, in a level 1, it could drop a level 2 lure hunt, and if you're in a level 2, then it could drop a level 3. But it's so contrasty. Everything in here seems to have that glow over it, doesn't it? So, oh, what the hell? Let's go out here and see what's going on. So now it looks a little different. So the druids comes by standing stones, and so that's up there where we were, but not those standing stones. There's these other ones that are right near it, and we've got to fight this guy that's up near there and see if we can, if I can remember exactly. It's just up through here, and there's a standing stone, but no. It's right up here. As you can see, this is Bulgaria and a little Stonehenge spot. And he only let me attack him to a certain point, and then he runs off. Oh. These are just extras. They shouldn't have been part of the fight, but I guess I backed up into him too far. That guy over there would be the same way. This is not a helpful fire, and those guys don't let me draw it into it. So where is it? The thief. Oh, I gotta figure out where it is. It's up on high. I've got to go on the other side. Way down, not that little bridge there, but way down here. Go up into the starting of this hill. So I'm going to cut right through. Whoops. Pardon me. And if I'm right, the little Vistani village is right there. Whoops, got hung on a tree. And so I'm supposed to go up here. And I forget where they get exactly spawned at. But I'm pretty sure if it's this one, I remember where it is. And you have a timer. It's giving me 20 minutes to do this whole thing, so I've got to go through these 3 things and fight the guy. Huh. Should have been right in that stretch there, and that's not it. Dun 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 dun. Oh, well, all on this quest. Here's some more ruins. They don't have anything to do with this, but I'll waste a minute or two looking at them. There's a little treasure chest over in the forest right there, but it gives you meh. There's usually a little Vistani thing that pulls up and people start screwing with it, and you've got to help them out there as a minor heroic. This is the other way, isn't it? Yeah, this is the doorway. And there might be one here, but they're not. Gates of Barovia, and you're locked in. Oh no. And of course, Dracula is the evil baron that's there. To go over some of the folklore and stuff. Most people know about Vlad Dracul and the things that came out of that. Is this the place? No. There's one that comes out of here. There's some giant wolves. They really are like riding size, pretty much. And I could go into better stuff about that. I probably shouldn't have took on this quest while I'm trying to do this. What do they call hellhounds? So a lot of people know there's a complete connection between hell and hallowed and Halloween and the Day of the Dead, which happens every year, but a lot of people don't know there's a witch. Ah, yourself. A lot of people don't know that there's a meteor shower that goes on at that same time and is starting to go on just in a couple of days from now. I'm doing this in the teens. It ought to be out by then by far. I even put it out depending on how well this goes. There's a supply guy that comes from there and he gives you holy water and some other stuff that you can use. I am running out of places to connect where this guy is. And he's not at the old witch's mill. I was going to take you over here and tell you a story about the old witch's mill that I don't think I told you, and the whole thing about witches. And now whenever you get close, a little banner shows up above your head and it goes, yeah, there's something going on here. I've got to weave back through in this area to head back anyhow. Wouldn't be at the graveyard, would it? Let's go up here and see if it's there. Oh, look, the blood moon. Doom, 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 doom. This is nighttime, but again, you don't even see, and I'm not even close to the mic, so it probably isn't even coming through good. But during the day, you really can't tell which direction the sun's coming from and so on. Not here, not there, not everywhere. What's up, guys? It's gotta hurt. Problem is, I didn't hear the hint on where it is. So I'm like, we just fought that one up there. Here it is over here. He's gonna run off real quick. This is going to be back up in those ruins that I went past before. And so he's a necromancer, which people think, oh my God, that's all evil and everything. No, this is just like a funeral director is today. Very much somebody that would deal with stuff like that. It's not what people try to say it ever was. Oh, they had these symbols and everything, and it's devil worshiping. No, they had those symbols, and that meant things that are perpetual and all this stuff, and it doesn't go on for. Sorry about that. And it still goes on today a little bit, but we still have that same concept, and you need somebody. Preachers are well familiar with it, for they deal with people their whole lives sometimes. Let's see if this isn't up here at these ruins of halls and walls that she talked about. Yep, there he is. Hey, bud. I'm just going to take you out. Boom. And say, I got the wanted poster. And now I end the hunt and come back. And when I do, it's a magic portal back to the gypsy. You can see. Track this castle off in the distance. And I've been let out at the main spot. And here she is again. Now I've got that other one that I could do now, but oh, don't want to. So here's a whole group going through their little party and everything, but they make a little too much noise for the locals, if you will, and so they stay out here for they're always playing music and things like that and keeping themselves up a revelry. But really they're doing a lot of trading with them. Trade, just like the ancient Silk Road and things like that. And in town there's a lot of locals too. Now everybody wants to find out what their wares are. Some people like their storytelling. Huh. Werewolves and a witch quest. See, during the day, you can't tell. Oh, there's the castle. Monsters of the night. I hope this is coming through decent. There's a pretty good look at it. When we come into fight, it's on the left side of it there, and there's a bridge that comes in and it does it. So we go through the whole thing, although magically it's bigger than it really is, if you will. And you saw that part of that graveyard and the ruins that are up above that are there too. So even though there's a town there now, there was things that were around in ancient times, way, way predating these guys, right? Ding goes off like a signpost. That looks cool. It's kind of elven, if you will. Anyhow, you fight these wolves and you have to go through these quests, and of course that's what's messing with the sheep and the farmers that live around here. And they've basically built a wall around this, and they've been preyed upon by these vampires and these creatures and these witches, right? Well, in reality, witches aren't really the thing that people make them out to be. Oh, Broomhilda and all the hee 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 hee. See if I can get this guy to come alive. Sometimes these scarecrows do too, and I kind of look like a scarecrow. I'm like, hey, buddy. No. So here's a witch. She's a flying witch, just cruising around. Got her pointy hat on. We've talked about pointy hat people, little hat people, and so on, but this area is full of them. Oh, and here's another fire. There's another adventure. I've already done that fire, so now it's leading me back the other way. There's the field of scarecrows, and I do guarantee that this one is alive. Yeah, I'm so built up I can kind of one-shot them. If I time everything right and I've got all my stuff built up. There's more of those wolves. There's the ancient witch cottage that's there. So, I don't know. I was going to talk about a bunch of different things, I guess, and where am I at here? Well, we went over 30 minutes already. I'm sorry, guys. Here's some witches. Yeah, I even shot the other one out of the sky. This one sitting up on that rock. Oh, I don't have the quest for it. We can go inside there, and that's the ancient windmill. Well, this story that I had was about windmills, so let me tell you about that, see if I can stay enough from it. Here's a witch with cauldrons that are right there. Let's go ahead and clear that out. Look, bubble, bubble, boil and trouble. Well, what do these witches do? He's actually collecting the quest. I don't have the quest for it. Oh, there's an extra he's got to fight. Then he's safe. Hey, that's that Maserati guy that came by the fire right before I started. So bubble, bubble, boil and trouble. What's that got to do with everything? And if I hang around this too long, it's going to respawn and put the bad guys here again. So this ancient witch story might go something with it here. This story is about an old man who got a lady killed. And he felt real bad about it. And he killed himself. And his family felt real bad about it. And they wrote a tale about it. And it came down as folklore. And they've all got one of those things about what to do and what not to do and things like that. So I'm not going to go into the full depth of the thing, for it has quite some depth to it. Here, let's get these guys out of the way. Ta-da. Ooh, what's the blue thing? Huh. It's another card. So, what's it got to do with windmills and everything? Well, this lady, she was married to a man who had gone to war a few times and become famous, but he was the miller that was there, but it was ran by other people and stuff. And after those couple of wars, there was really nobody good helping her to run this windmill place that was there, right? And she became old and elderly, and people wanted to steal this thing from her. And they started making up all kinds of tales out of it, but they couldn't get her to be evicted in any way or whatever and give it up or anything. She wasn't going to have it. So how did this all get started? Well, this other guy that had been in the war that her husband got killed in had become friends with her, and supposedly just friends, okay, but he became friends with her because she was a healer, not a witch. She was known as a healer. And so this guy went to her because he had wounds that wouldn't totally heal, and in other words, he had excruciating pain and things like that going on. And she had developed an ability. Here's this little hovel town. There's even a bar in here. Hell, let's go in the bar and I'll tell you a story over a drink. Go in the tavern. Blood on the Vine Tavern. You want something? Eh? We buy a bottle of wine. Eh? That guy's such a gimp. Hey, there's an angel. He's a sidekick of that person that's right there. Yeah, Danica, she sends me places. This guy does too. So this lady, oh, Tales from the Fire. So this lady that she helps him out, and he, after a while, um, ends up letting other people that he knew know about it, and then she gets known. Now, supposedly, what she's doing is she's doing these natural remedy type things and da da da. But what it is it's a potion with some stuff that's an extreme painkiller that's in it and stuff like that for the guy, right? So it's morphine or opium based, and it has other things in it too. And anyhow, long story even longer, he tells all these people about it and everything, and it's like this great thing, like you hear about the Wizard of Oz that came through town and left, and then all these people heard about some bullshit about it, and da da da, and it riles up people who never knew, and then whenever they hear about it, they come and they actually kill the lady and perform the thing that the townspeople couldn't bring themselves to somehow do. Well, what's weird is, so she's over with, and she supposedly cursed these people whenever they were trying to kill her whenever they killed her. And no, they didn't burn her down. But what did happen shortly after was it was struck by lightning. The windmill, the mill, and it caught fire and burned down and is only left to a little pile of ruins. And whenever I first heard this story, there's this little picture that a guy had that was an old 35 millimeter, but it was just a copy of something. And it was some ruins out there and this little squared off area. And he goes, hey, that squared off area used to be a hearth, kind of like this you're looking at here. And the squared off area was like the square bottom of a giant place that everybody said was a windmill that a witch lived in it. And that she wouldn't live in the top anymore after her husband died. And she lived down the bottom in this root cellar and all this stuff. And whenever that got out, because she healed some people, they freaked out and they killed this lady. And I'm like, what? And he hands me the picture, I'm like, what the hell? Yeah, this is one of these guys that knew all this stuff whenever I was going into it. And he had books that had stuff like this where people had just written books of it, old folklore and stuff. He goes, here, you can take this. And I'm like, what? And well, I'll read it and I'll bring it back. Or, will you bring it back? I'll give you another one. And I'm like, okay. And I became friends with this guy for a while. I still have one of his books. I never got back together with him at that last point. But I wish I would have kept the one that I had before that. For it actually had some real good tales and folklore that I only have like little remnants of. But I still remember a lot of it when I'm trying to roll through it. Anyhow, so witches were really just somebody who knew these ancient arts, and they were healers, and these other type of things. They also, just like you'd have a midwife, and they'd be able to help out people whenever they were having children, you would have somebody that was a mid healer that would take you from halfway between this world and the next. Quite often these what you would nowadays probably look back on as witches, which really doesn't have anything to do with he and flying on a broom and crap, really. That's just one of the little spines of the tree of folklore of BS that came out of it for a lot of it. And there's wicked things that go along with that, but we don't need to go there. It really just goes along with brooms, though, and symbolism that goes along with brooms, which would say that you pretty much got to have a house going on and civilization and all these things going on too before this was developed. But that's probably for another tale if we have another one about this. Sorry I took you on that adventure to kill that guy, but I didn't get anything good out of it. Well, that one little piece, but I already have it, and then I've already done the other adventure. I've done every single adventure that they've got in there. There was a time where we did a whole bunch of them, but that was whenever it was brand new fresh. Oh, I hunger, so you can hear that guy. Well, that means that he's somewhere out there, just outside of town. If you get within 100 yards, you usually can hear him. And then if you don't get the hell out of the way, he'll go after you, and you'll have to attack him. In fact, I just fought him right before I started up the video, and then went back to that fire that's right there to start it off. So where could I go more with this? Man, I don't want it to go too much. This may be a nothing. I may put it out and just try to do another one, because I wanted to try to wrap up 3 or 4 of these creatures, and I really didn't talk about some of the things that I could have done. Anyhow, Tales from the Fire. That's what the next beer is for. It's on me. Peace.